Alright, ladies and gentlemen, this is homework 09 HW1, order of operations. This is problem number 1 here. We have 30 divided by 15 minus a negative 14 minus a 3 divided by a negative 3. Now the key thing to remember of order of operations is the order of operations. We have a nice little acronym called PEMDAS. P-E-M-D-A-S. And PEMDAS, what it stands for, the P stands for parentheses, which you got to do first, then the exponents, then the multiplication, then the division, then the addition, and then the subtraction. Now remember, multiplication and division, you just do left to right, and addition and subtraction. When you're down to just addition and subtraction, you could do that also left to right. Let's walk you through a couple problems. Here's problem number 1. We have 30 divided by 15 minus a negative 14 minus 3 divided by negative 3. So inside those parentheses, that negative 14 doesn't simplify any further. That's the same story here with negative 3. There's nothing else with that negative 3 inside the parentheses. So their parentheses is all taken care of. Exponents, we don't have any exponents in this problem, so that's taken care of. Next is multiplication and division here. Now what we could do, we go left to right for all the multiplication and division signs because they're like a team. They're teamed up multiplication and division. 30 divided by 15, you know that's 2. Now this is a negative 1 times a negative 14, which turns into a positive 14. Because negative 1 times negative 14 gets you positive 14. This is then a minus 3. Now we have a negative 3 divided by a negative 3. So negative 3 divided by negative 3 gets us positive 1. So we're changing that to a positive 1. That's all the multiplication and division. Next up is addition and subtraction. Well, we all got all addition, so you just add them all up. 2 plus 14 gets you 16. 16 plus 1 gets you 17. So the answer to problem number 1 is 17, which is D in the multiple choice. That's problem number 1. Alright, the next problem that we're going to do is problem number 3. And notice here there's lots of parentheses here. So parentheses are going to come into play in this particular problem. What we do with the parentheses, we always want to make sure we start with the most inside parentheses that we got here. So notice with 1, 2, 3 open parentheses, and then 1, 2, 3 close parentheses. We want to start with the one that's the closest inside. So we have negative 21. Well, we're not adding or subtracting any other numbers there with negative 21. So that piece is done. So we get rid of those parentheses. Now we have negative 21 plus 12. Now negative 21 plus 12 gets you 9, or I'm sorry, negative 9. So we're going to simplify that negative 21 plus 12 to negative 9. Carry down to times 3. Carry down to division. Carry down the 8 minus the negative 1. Then, that negative 9 doesn't need that extra set of parentheses because we don't need to add and subtract any other numbers inside. So now we have negative 9 times 3. Get you 9, 18, 27. So we have negative 27. And that's all that's left inside those parentheses, so we actually don't need to write them. Carry down the division sign. And then go inside these parentheses here. We have 8 minus a negative 1. Well, negative 1 isn't being added and subtracted inside those parentheses, so we get rid of that. And we have negative 1, 8 minus a negative 1, which really is just a plus 1. So we have an 8 plus 1. 8 plus 1, you know, is 9. And that's all that's left inside the parentheses, so you don't have to write the parentheses again. So now we have negative 27 divided by 9, which gets you negative 3. And that's the answer for problem number 3. C, negative 3. Next we'll do problem number 5. Alright, here's problem number 5. Let me take it step by step. almost inside set of parentheses. So looking at here, we have two sets of parentheses. That -1 doesn't need to be added or subtracted to any other numbers just yet. So we get rid of those parentheses. We have 27 minus a -1, which is really 28. And let's rewrite the rest of it here. So you have -15. Don't need to add or subtract any other numbers inside those parentheses or multiply any numbers. So we have -15 minus a 28. Well, 28, there's nothing left on the inside, so we don't need those parentheses anymore. Divide by. Now we look at this set of parentheses. You have two sets, you have a -2. We can actually get rid of those parentheses because we're done adding and subtracting inside those. Now we just got to focus inside these. -2 minus 2 gets you -4. So we took care of all the parentheses. There's no exponents. Multiplication and division, well, we look left to right. Yep, we have a divide by. So -28 divided by -4 gets you 5, 6, 7. So we have a +7 because -28 divided by -4 gets you a +7. Put a little positive sign in front of it. -15, we just carry down. So -15 plus 7 gets you -8. So the answer number 5 is A, -8. Next up, we'll do problem number 7. Alright, problem number 7 says x to the third minus y, where x equals 3 and y equals 2. Now our goal here is that we're first going to substitute these two numbers in for their appropriate variables. So now they say x to the third, which they really mean since x equals 3, they're saying 3 to the third. Then minus y, well y is really just 2, so we're going to replace that y with 2. 3 to the third, well that's 3 times 3 times 3, which is 27. You can put that into the calculator. Then minus 2. 27 minus 2 gets us 25. And that's our answer for problem number 7, which is C. So you do it step by step. You just substitute them in, and then you simplify. Take care of your exponents, using that order of operations, and you crunch out the number. Next up is problem number 9. Alright, this is problem number 9. That'll be the last problem that we do together. We have 5 times x plus z, where x equals 3 and z equals 1. So the first thing that we got to do is substitute these two numbers in for their variables. So it'll be 5, parentheses, well x is 3, so replace the x with 3, plus the z is going to be replaced with 1. Because that's what they tell us in the given. It's given to us. We substitute them in. Then we do our order of operations, parentheses, well 3 plus 1 is inside the parentheses, so that's really 4. Then we take care of our multiplication. 5 times 4, you know, is 20. And that's our answer to problem number 9, which is B. Now it's your job to input all those answers into the Google form and also complete the other problems. So complete numbers 1 through 10 in the Google form below. Make sure you hit the submit button when you're done. Remember, if you have any questions, you're more than welcome to ask during class or come to extra help. Thank you and have a good night.